it? It's a funny setup, isn't it?
Mm.
So they'll see you as being to the right, to the right of me.
Mm.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are broadcasting live to you from a hotel in Derby, where we are. What is it we're doing, Richard?
We're doing a series on the R complex, which I thought was quite a well-known term, but you're saying today that it isn't.
I don't think so.
No. R complex is is the part of the brain, the reptilian part of the brain. R complex is a part of you that acts like a reptilian. So we're doing how that manifests and how that sort of works in conjunction with narcissism, psychopathy, the psychopaths that are running the world today, like literally today, actually. That's why we're in Hotel California.
That's why we're in Hotel California, where you can never leave, stuck in quarantine. So we're going to be looking at the actual brain functioning elements of narcissism and psychopathy, and the way in which there seems to be an inability to access or process any concept of compassion or empathy, and why that just gets completely cut off. That's what we're going to be looking at this week, isn't it?
In several different ways. We should have got the list of episodes, but we're doing 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is about the triune, and I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I need to move forward because that's really weird of you, like interviewing someone while sitting behind them.
The whole setup is strange. I'm just not going to look at you. The whole time.
Explain what the triune is.
Okay, voice over my shoulder. I will. So there's different parts of the brain. The triune model of the brain suggests that we have a reptilian, a mammalian, and then a human part of the brain. So the more human elements of the brain usually are indicated to be in the frontal lobes. They're responsible for higher order reasoning, a degree of empathy and compassion, impulse control, being able to think in the long term, that kind of thing. Then you have the mammalian aspects, which is obviously more to do with your survival and aggression. And then you have reptilian, which is the fight-flight response. It's the part that takes over your body when you sneeze or when you orgasm.
Or both at the same time.
Or both at the same time. You have a sneezy orgasm or an orgasmic sneeze.
What happens when you shart?
That's the reptilian side of you.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it's just saying fuck it. The reptilian side of you just says fine. Just do whatever you want to do. Okay. So we're going to be exploring that, and we're going to look at how that side of things plays into the world that we find ourselves in today.
Which is mad, isn't it? Quite frankly, who would have thought that we would all end up in a David Icke book? Look, that one, or this one specifically that we're talking about.
The children of
Matrix.
The children of the Matrix.
So the children of the Matrix is about. Do you want to explain what that's about? You've read that one, haven't you?
I think so. Yeah, I think I have. There's this tying together of different concepts from the Gnostic Gospels, the archons, and a construction of a universe, which is something that myself and Richard have explored in the podcasts that we've done before, which is say, okay, well, what is the nature of this reality, and how do we have a better understanding of the world in which we're living? And through having a better understanding of the world in which we're living, a better means for understanding how we should operate in that world. The Gnostic worldview is an interesting one. It suggests that this world is a corrupted world. It's a world that is run not by the true God, but by a demiurge, which would be like a fallen god, and one that doesn't have an imagination. And his archons, which means lords, similarly represent different elements of the human psyche, different splits of the human psyche that are not so healthy. They're the darker parts of ourselves, and they have no creativity. They have no compassion. They have no empathy. So they need humans in order to have something to copy, and in order to be able to feed off human creativity and human empathy in order to make a world that functions. Effectively creating a matrix that we are trapped inside of, which is an interesting metaphor when we're in a world where we're literally being told to stay inside and avoid contact with it.
which is there's other things that pop up. If you look at language, you got arch enemy,
Mm.
archons,
Mm.
archbishop. You know what they get up to.
Mm.
It's the language of arch and arc comes across quite often in this thing, and even if you don't believe in obviously the concept, the actual reality of a reptilian hybrid, we all do have a reptilian part of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
For some of us, like my partner, they're rhesus negative, which is a different type of blood. There's clearly different races going on within the world, obviously. But this is talking about a specific hybrid that the gods did. And if you look into something like Ancient Aliens, and you look back to how they hybridized human, they created us. So what is your take on whether we are actually here and we were here before them, or we've been created by them? Are we the children in a custody battle?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I remember the first few times that when I was younger, I used to take acid. And I think I was driven to taking acid because I was dealing with trauma. I was dealing with CPTSD, and I could see that there was something wrong. I could see there was something wrong with the world, and I felt like there was something wrong with me, and I was looking for a solution. And when I took acid, a lot of the trips that I had were around the theme of human evolution and our purpose on the planet, and the stuff that I was getting was very, very clearly delineating a difference between a mammalian group of people who were mammalian, who were like, in my acid trips, were like these cat people who lived in accordance with, they lived in accordance with nature, and they were happy and loving and colourful and groovy little dudes. They were groovy cats. And then the reptiles, who were miserable, bullying, violent, sadistic, and wanted to enslave people. And it would go into this every time. It would go into this whole thing about the Garden of Eden and where we were in the Garden of Eden. And the idea was that when we think about the Garden of Eden, we think about Adam and Eve, we should be thinking about four-legged creatures. We should be thinking about our evolution as humans. But as to who came first, I don't know. I mean, I think one of the things that's coming up right now is there's different frames of reference that are colliding. There's different worldviews, and the story that we're currently living has probably reached an end, which is why there's this sort of dissociation, this fear. We are going to need a different story to move forward. But on that particular subject, obviously, as a person raised in the West with a Christian background, how do I accommodate a truly Gnostic worldview? I can't really. I can go there for short periods of time, and then I'll sort of come back out of it, and I'll go, oh, that was weird, and now I need to go and, top up my mobile phone, put my socks on, and put fuel in the car the same way as everybody else does. So I wouldn't claim to know. I do find the Gnostic worldview interesting, and I do think that the story that we have been living up until now clearly isn't the full story, because we act like people, like entities who are not living their true story. We act like we've got a bit of amnesia. We're all vaguely sort of uncomfortable and agitated and irritated and looking for something. We're all seeking for something. Incidents like the one that we're living through now, that can exacerbate that feeling. So I would say I'm open to the possibility that the mainstream story that we live is not a full explanation.
So the other story from that is, very briefly to go over it, is the Anunnaki, and you're talking about Atlantis and Lemuria, or Mu as they call it, and you had Enki and Enlil, who are brothers who created man to be a slave race and mine gold is one of the reasons why they say that they did. I'm not saying this is true, I'm saying this is the mythologies. A lot of these mythologies have been repackaged and rebranded as religions through the years. The Sumerians, they wrote about it, Babylonians wrote about these things, and then obviously it's been put into these various religions. So where we're leading now, and you talked about, it looks like we're coming to the end of our story. That kind of ties in a little bit with the Mayan calendar and 2012, the end of that Mayan calendar. Do we need, as you say, and stories are so important, we're storytelling machines. Without a story, where do you tie the ends up?
I don't know. And to the 2012 issue, when 2012 came around, at that time, I didn't think there was anything to it at all. I only gave it any credit because I was a big Terence McKenna fan, and he seemed to feel that it was a significant date. But there definitely was a shift, a very palpable shift post the financial crash of 2008. And I do sometimes, because I had friends who really believed 2012 was like, I got a mate who was a teacher of mine, and he was like, the world, there's two realities splitting. One's in reverse Merkaba, and I don't even really know what the hell that is. And it comes from 2012 forward that we're going to be in two different realities. And that one of those realities is kind of the world spinning off its axis. Now, maybe you could track and say, well, over the last 8 years, to me, there has felt like an increase in the hysteria, the clamor, the discontent, as though it's like listening to an opera or a piece of music, and it's just going, it's like rising up. Well, that has to crash eventually. There has to be like some sort of a peak to that noise, and then a crash afterwards. So if you run out of story, you kind of end up flapping and flailing in the wind a little bit.
Yeah, you do.
And so even before this pandemic, like we were talking about just before, it's bad now. But to say that it's bad now is to kind of shows how much denial I'm in and everybody else is in about how bad it was before. It was fine before, and now it's bad. And then you go, well, no, actually, it was fucked up before. It's just that you could continue to play video games, watch Netflix, go out and see your mates, and live this quote unquote normal life. And now we really have to start thinking about what our future is going to look like. But we needed to anyway. That's where there is hope and positivity here is where I'd say, we needed to stop. And now we're being forced to stop. We needed to stop. Like we couldn't, there's no way we were going to carry on living the way we were.
You said earlier the hard break that we had in plugged in.
Yeah.
There was that part of the content, the gentleman that said it, that we need a hard break. That's basically what we've got.
That was one of the Facebook executives who felt guilty about what he'd done to help Facebook harvest people's time and attention. Was he was talking about we need a hard break. Maybe this is a little moment to start, cleaning up house spiritually, emotionally, in terms of how we want to live as human beings on this planet. Because this is feedback from nature. This is a pushback from nature. We're here, and nature is, even if you go along the road of saying, well, no, it's an altered man-made virus that's done it. It's still harnessing nature to get that job done.
Yeah. Even
if that is the true story, which I have no idea whether it is or isn't.
So we're at a heartbreak now, and they don't. It's almost like when your mum and dad go, Santa isn't real. We woke up and gone, crap. Is it time for us to take charge of our own future? There's this thing, New World Order. You'll either be given a new world to live in, or you get a chance to put into and create a new world together that we all can benefit from. You'll either be given a solution, or you can provide the solution. We're really at a crossroads at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Regardless of where you see it going or how it came about. Definitely.
And just so I don't forget later, when I was talking to Richard earlier, I drove up from London today to Derby, and there's also the roads look strange. There's a lot of police out. We actually were at one point on the drive up the M1. There was a police escort that slowed us all down. We were given no explanation. Tons of Hell's Angels out on the road, which I haven't seen Hell's Angels driving on major motorways in over 10 or 15 years. And I've been driving all over the UK most of my adult life with different jobs. And so you start thinking, this is strange. There's little hints here that something is up. And I started to dissociate. And we both described this feeling of feeling like you're in a film.
Yeah.
Which is dissociation, which means that I'm aware that I am actually starting to go into shock. And I think other people are going into shock. I've seen complaints on social media today that people aren't doing the social distancing thing. Stop breathing, Maya. And that they're meeting in large groups and they're being irresponsible. And I'm like, well, of course they are. You've basically sent everybody home. They haven't digested the information. there's no real threat that we can see. It's a symbolic threat. And I think people are going into shock. And in that shock, you just sort of have a laugh. You think you're in a film, you start to dissociate, it can't be real. But it is real. When I say it's real, what I mean is, whatever your theory or pet hypothesis or whatever is, we can't put the toothpaste back into the tube now. This is it. Like, this is a changing moment. Nothing like this has happened in human history. That's not exaggeration, right?
Not in our known human history. No.
No, there's just like in our recorded human history, there's nothing like this. And so it is shocking. It would have been less shocking had we gone to war with Iran.
Oh yeah.
That would have been
I can
like,
understand that.
well, we still
And
live.
there's an outcome. There's
an outcome, and we still live our lives. We still live that same story, which is, I get married, I have kids, I have a car, then I'll buy a bigger car, then maybe I'll buy a bigger house, and maybe, you have that, like, this is the route, and the route was materialism. The route was just consumerism, because it's post-ideological, it's a post-religious society, and now that's being taken away. So people will go into shock. I'm pretty emotionally. The only reason I knew I was going into shock was because I was doing emotional literacy. I was like, what is this feeling? And I'm like, well, I feel a bit cold, and I feel a bit out of reality, and I feel a bit frozen. And I'm like, oh yeah, shock.
Yeah.
I have clients who come to me describing that after a violent incident. It's like, this is classic shock. And also, I'm responding in an infantile way. I'm making jokes about it. And I find myself just giggling. I'm just like laughing over nothing. Yeah. I got that scene from There Will Be Blood in my head today. I drink your milkshake.
Yeah.
And I was in a traffic jam. So I started shouting, I drink your milkshake at the
Why
police.
not?
Yes. The windows were all up. Obviously, I'm not brave.
Yeah.
They couldn't hear me. But I was like, Eli, you boy. So I was in the car going, I have a straw and you have a milkshake and I drink. And the person in the car next to me is looking at me like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I was like, listen, I'm not stopping just because you think it's weird.
Why bother now?
Right? Why should I not act like a lunatic?
Yeah. All the rules are off. It's like bowling. They're taking the little lanes off.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
What is the point?
But
that's when martial law is going to come in.
Absolutely.
Because at the moment we're funny, we're laughing.
Yeah,
it's a little bit like the Joker film.
Yeah.
We're funny at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not going to be so funny when the money goes.
Well, and when there's no food on the shelves, and
No.
and there's the Joker film, the recent one, but the Heath Ledger Joker line has come up in my mind over the last few days, because I'm watching people's micro expressions and their micro communication and their body language. And there's a scene in Heath Ledger's Joker movie where he has the two boats, the civilians and the prisoners, and they can blow each other up. And he says to Batman something like, let's see how quickly these people will just tear each other apart.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thin veneer of civilization that if you crack, it's gone very rapidly. And that's on my mind. That's on my mind a lot. But there is that. There's the regression into an infantile response, and then I'll come back around again, and I'll go, well, what am I supposed to do?
Lack of narrative.
There is a lack of narrative, because we're not being told, okay, it's 30 days and then on we go. Anybody with half a brain is going, well, if we're out and about again inside of 30 days, I'll be jumping up and down saying that was clearly a flipping hoax.
Yeah, yeah.
We cut a test, which is possible, that this is like you're jabbing the opponent just to see their response. Will they accept martial law? Will they do as they're told when we tell them to turn up to be vaccinated? Will they? Maybe. Or far more likely that this actually will have to go on for more like 3 months. And then when the 3 months is up, we'll be saying, oh, so we could go back to work now. And they'll say, well, in the 1918 Spanish flu, when everybody went back to work, it resurged, and the second and third waves were much more deadly than the first.
Lovely. Wonderful.
Yay! So you start, I'm starting like gaming this out in my head, and I'm going, well, okay, not this week, but next week and next month and the following months afterward, what's this going to look like? The military is being mobilized inside of the UK. I've still got contacts inside the military, and they're coming to our streets. They're meeting in Birkenhead today. The Territorial Army is meeting in Birkenhead. And I'm not telling you that to make you panic. They're not there to like lock people up or anything. They're there in it's an advisory and assist. They're going to assist the police and the emergency services. But it's been a week, and all of a sudden the world's locked down,
7 days.
and there's going to be the army's going to be on the streets, which is that's scary.
It's scary,
Yeah.
and the lack of narrative. It's the lack of knowing what to do, where to go, who to. I mean, which stand. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I remember, like, you always think, be careful what you wish for, because you think, I'd love to just, like, no one tell me what to do ever. Now no one's telling you what to do. They are. They're saying you to stay indoors. But regardless of that, you have no guidelines. And you don't really know. But also what's even more scary is that, you know, other people don't know either.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of looking at each other going, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then they're looking at it, they go, what do you do? You're going to hurt me?
Yeah.
Are you gonna bum me or I bum you? No.
I'm gonna steal all of your digestive biscuits. That's what everybody's thinking. That's what the world will come down to. Is the chocolate digestive. There'll be a war over the last chocolate digestive.
The actual toilet roll thing, I can't have a solution to that. Why don't you just go and have a poo in the supermarket?
Oh, that's brilliant. That's zen. That's zen.
If you can't bring the poo to you bring the poo to the market.
Yeah. Yeah, that's genius.
I think so.
Genius level stuff. So yeah, the running out of narrative is problematic because it leaves everybody sort of flailing in the wind a little bit, and that's where we're up to. I think what we have to do is what we can do. I've actually got a video coming out this week. It's in editing now. Do you remember the film Gravity?
Yes, I watched it recently. Actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I think so. I remember the front cover.
Just done a video essay on that. Sandra Bullock, astronaut, putting in her piece on a telescope so they can look out into the furthest reaches of the universe. And out of the blue, something happens and it's not good. And when you are, I won't do any spoilers or anything because it's a good movie. It's not a good movie like people who are into
sci-fi.
Yeah, it's like sci-fi are going to love it. But if you know anything about space travel, you'd be like, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. It's like a metaphor for trauma and therapy and recovery that happens to be featuring astronauts. It's not the other way around. And if you can enjoy it from that point of view, it's really good. But being lost without your coordinates, in the very early parts of the film, Houston goes offline.
Yeah.
And they keep talking to Houston and they say, Houston in the blind, these are our coordinates. And it creeps me the fuck out when they do that because they're talking to an old source of control, of knowledge, of authority. But the disaster has kind of wiped out that contact and wiped out those coordinates. But in that film, what you can see happening is it actually does give a route out, which is the answer to it is you do what you can. And you do what you can, even if there's no guarantee of survival. Because if you flail, you're definitely going to die. You're fucked. But if you make small steps, progressional steps, which is the same as therapy, like if somebody's coming away from a really traumatic incident, we guide them through the coaching, you encourage people to make small steps in the right direction and you have them figure out what their coordinates are. So what I can say is worth doing now is know what your core values are, get a sense of what your moral philosophy is, and don't be passive. Don't wait. Be active because there is there's a possibility that this really is a blank sheet moment and we could restructure. We could do things differently.
We could do, yeah. And if you don't make a choice, someone will make it for you.
Absolutely. So the toxic passivity that I've been warning about for about a year, you've really got to expunge that from your mindset because when people are frightened and when they're shocked, they become very, very obedient and they become very, very passive. My fear, when I have my moments of fear, which I do, I cycle through feeling hopeful, through feeling optimistic, and then I'll be like, oh shit, I'm scared. It'll be not for this, not for the coronavirus. I'm not scared of the coronavirus.
No.
I'm scared of them extending this period out, destroying the economy, and then waiting for it to get bad and then saying, okay, guys, it's really bad, isn't it? Yes, it's really, really bad. We have a solution for you, but I don't know if you'll want it. Just give it to us. What is it? Just get whatever solution comes looming over the horizon. That's what I'm frightened of.
So what solutions should people looking out for? What are you looking out for? What is your reptilian brain going, don't want that one? I think I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, you know, it's difficult to talk about this kind of stuff in public because people think I'm a fucking nutcase. I
You were
have.
shouting in a car earlier on.
That's
People
true.
couldn't hear you.
That's true.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I didn't drink their milkshake.
At the end of the world, possibly. What are you
Yeah.
worried about? People thinking you're a
Don't need to worry about that. I worry that this will be used as an excuse to just terminate capitalism.
Yeah.
And to terminate personal freedoms. And some people watching this will be like, that's not going to happen. Well, coronavirus and the economy should be seen as dramatically interlinked for multiple reasons that there's no point getting into here. But if you kill the economy, then one solution is you just go, you see that economic system you're under? It didn't really work. It's causing a lot of trouble. It's causing a lot of environmental damage. Because everything we're going to be told now is, oh, the environment's getting better because people have stopped. They've slowed down.
I saw that today.
Has it already happened?
Yeah, I saw a couple of articles about the environment getting better because in a week we haven't got out of the house a bit.
Right.
Nonsense. Or clearly nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would see that. I would see like a total political, economic overhaul that involves the reduction of freedoms, because in the absence of free market capitalism, you would most likely put in some kind of communism. And I think it would be based on social credit, the same way that China already has. And that scares the shit out of me.
Could you explain in layman's terms, what communism, capitalism are? Because I don't think a lot of people
Fuck off,
do.
will it? Fuck off, will you?
Know what that means?
He's asking me to explain Gnostic fucking theories 1 minute and then tell the world what communism is. You ask
give him any ideas. I'm not like.
It's really not the easiest thing in the world to get your head around, because I've been looking at it for years, and you ask 5 different communists, you get 5 different answers. So if we take Marxist style communism, so the simplest way of looking at it would be capitalism is thingism, and if you do a thing, you
get paid for
you have a thing and you keep your thing.
Yeah.
But in communism, there's no things, because private property is theft.
Right.
And you can't keep a thing, and you give to the commune. It's everyone's.
Yeah,
But this will put all the political people with political degrees will be tearing their hair out and I'll go, oh, that's not right. He asked for it in layman's terms. He asked for it basic. And I've never said that I'm against the idea. Like, there's plenty of problems with rampant predatory consumer capitalism. I'm criticizing it all the time. And I am, in some of my ideas, I am a bit socialist, in that I think people need help and you should share and whatever else. But there are strains of communism that you would not want to live inside of, because if you can bother your arse to try and read Marx, it reads to me like sci-fi fantasy. Because in order for it, in the Marxist idea, it happens naturally. Humans just share. And if there are no owners, there's no landowners, there's nobody in charge, there's no archons, the best of human nature will be, we'll just share. So you say to communists, what about police work? Well, some communists will say, sometimes people will be assigned the role of being police and they'll share the role of, and what about doctors? Well, some people will share their, and you just think, how the fuck's that going to work without a massive supercomputer AI that monitors everybody's behavior and says, well, Comrade Willett, this week we saw you help the old lady cross the road. You helped your neighbor rebuild a fence. So you will be rewarded. What would the reward be? I don't know. It might be that you don't have your personal freedoms taken away. You're allowed to take a holiday this year. You're allowed to take a flight. One of your 5 lifetime flights will be awarded to you this year. It's the control that scares me. And people will be saying this is madness. But there is a preparation and a drive towards this that's been coming for a long time. I've been warning everybody who's watching my channel that one day we'll be asked to get into pods.
But it's not madness, because what you're talking about exactly is what we're searching for now. Tell us what to do. I need you to tell me what to do, because I don't know. And they don't know, and he doesn't know, and we're all staring at each other, staring. So it's not madness, is it? Because a fundamental part of from the day we're born, we're told what to do, where to go. We need that.
Yes.
We need to know whether we're doing the right thing or not, because from an external, we don't need to, but we've been conditioned to, haven't we?
So then the desire would be, I need daddy to tell me what to do. I need big brother to tell me what to do. Please give me big brother. Please. We've seen looting. Say we fast forward 6 months in the future. You've been told to stay at home 6 months or a year or 18 months, which is not impossible. And I'm not trying to frighten you. I'm not trying to scaremonger here. I'm very, very hopeful. And you've really got to try and keep the self-discipline of optimism during this time. Because even if this shrinks away inside of a month, then I would be convinced it'll be coming back in 5 years or 10 years time. So say it goes on for 18 months, people are looting, social boundaries break down, and there's rampant criminality going on. What people will be demanding is a return to order, out of chaos, order, out of order, chaos. You know, it's the same. It's like this abuse of ancient Hermetic principles like you were talking about before, as above, so below. So how do you get people to lean hard towards order? You give them chaos, and they go, oh, chaos, this sucks. Ugh, give me leadership and make it totalitarian, make it very, very strong and very, very rigid. Oh, thank God I'm here. Oh, that's great. And then after a few years, you're going,
I don't want that anymore. I feel suffocated.
This is claustrophobic now. And one of my cousins posted something online that they shouldn't have done, and I haven't seen them for a couple of years, and they might be in the gulag somewhere. Where would you gulag people? Derby.
Here, I think.
Here, right here. So that's the broader fear that I have, is that that's what this is moving towards. And it's not wild speculative conspiracy theory late at night. This is people need to be aware.
I think we need to get to the point now that how much proof that these aren't wild conspiracy theories anymore.
Yeah,
these are theories. These are possibilities.
It's a hypothesis. No?
Yeah, hypotheses. These are possibilities, not probabilities. But they're becoming more probable from the day. The other thing that worries me is this handing out of money from the banks to people to say, okay, this will get you through.
Within a conservative government, by the way.
That'll work well for a short period of time. But if you become reliant on that, what happens? Well, if you post something online that I don't like, and I'm the government, I'll just take some credit points away from you. Which is happening in China already. It's social credit system. That is a tiptoe towards the social credit system. In the short term, these things work. It's when they become long-term plans, and once they're in, like martial law, once it's implemented once, the second time's a shoo-in.
Absolutely,
and that really worries me about the social credit system, that you will not be able to have the opinions that we're having now. Say we did this video now, in 3 years' time, we go on my phone, I'll go, crap, I've lost 12 social credit points. Can't get on the train this week until get my credit points up by behaving. And that's where we're going, unfortunately. Like
what would behaving look like?
Well, probably Satanism if you go down that
You'd have to show up for the 2 minutes of hate, 1984 style.
Well, this isn't that far off though.
Yeah.
And this is the problem, is that George Orwell and Aldous Huxley knew each other. They wrote about this, and they weren't the first to write about this a long, long time ago. This was written about. We have been warned through art. We've been warned. We're continuously being warned. Through the arts. It's the only way to do it is put something in fiction. And where we have that could possibly come about. But then there's the argument: is that preemptive programming? Is that it's really it's difficult.
It is very, very difficult. But I think that what they were pointing to is just a logical conclusion. If you follow it through and you just think, well, what would the next step be? What does the person you're talking about desire? How could they possibly get there? What would it mean for them to get there? And it's quite easy to track the behavioral path. Then you just game it out. You just simulate it. You go, well, you'd need to tell people this. You'd need to get them to agree to that. Vaccination, microchipping, because how do we control the pandemic? In South Korea, I think they were using, or China, they were using apps to tell who'd been in contact with who.
No.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's what David was talking about it on London Rail 2
days
ago. Yeah. They actually used the apps to say, okay, so a really good way of controlling the pandemic is to know who you've been in contact with and tracking it. Well, sometimes the phone battery goes off. You know what would be better, comrade? If we could just slip this in your skin And then we know for sure who you've been in contact with. It's really important to control the pandemic that we know who you've been talking to. Yes, there's a listening device. And obviously, if you say things against the government, we don't like that. But you understand, don't you, comrade? You want to do what's best for the future of humanity, don't you?
Work, then? How do they track you through that thing of knowing who you've been near? Do they send you a message going, you've been near Sharon. Sharon's got hepatitis.
Possibly.
You might want to get yourself checked.
Possibly. I mean, we've seen.
I did nothing sexual with Sharon. I thought, well, just
get
yourself checked because she's known for it.
Well, yeah, we've seen episodes of Black Mirror that look like that, and I don't think it's that far away. And if you're a control freak and you've got because the reptilian mindset, narcissism and sympathy is only concerned with dominance hierarchies. You're a control freak, that's what you'd want. I want to know where all the children are at all times. I want to know who they're talking to, and I want to know what it's about. They won't submit to that unless they think if they don't, they're going to be killing old people, which is one of the most ludicrous elements of this situation right now.
And did you notice that when we're out today, when you wander around, who's out? Old people.
Yeah.
They're all out, running around.
They don't give a fuck.
They don't care because they've been through the 2 world wars, some of them. They're not going to care about this. So most of them don't know how to use the TV or the internet. So they're just wandering around going, where's all these little people gone?
I'm afraid I balk at the idea that our governments suddenly care about the old, the isolated and the frail. I can't swallow that.
No.
So
unless you're the Queen.
Yeah. So there's been a toying with the narrative. That's for sure. I'm not saying it's not real. You know, nobody's saying it's. I do think it's real. I do think it's out there. It is a nasty illness, and you should not spread nasty illnesses. Like every flu season, we should try not to spread nasty illnesses.
Try not to is different from being forced not to. There's your limit. There's a line there. Forced and try.
We're
hearing,
choose. Yeah. So we're hearing a lot about what this pandemic might or might not do. You fracture the economy, you smash it to pieces. And this will, by the way. This will. I don't care if people say I'm too negative or I'm not supposed. I've got a channel about PTSD. You're supposed to give people hope. This will fuck the world economy. I'll say it again. This is going to fuck the world economy. What we're doing now is guaranteed. And it will take, if it goes on for 3 months or 6 months, there won't be a recovery from it. You'll have to rewrite the script. It would be so corrupted and everybody would be so far behind and there'd be such high inflation because they'd have to artificially just pump money into the system, which would no longer be a marker of work. It's not about what work you're earning because you just sat at home breathing and shitting.
It'll be about how you'll get paid for being the least amount of nuisance.
Probably.
That's what kids get paid for. That's why they get sweets.
Yeah, it'll be like pocket money for everybody.
Yes, it will be pocket money. That's exactly what it'll be.
And that is my fear. Is that once that's happened, and you go, we'll have Boris and Donald on the TV going, we did everything we could.
With Donald and Boris are the two names.
Yeah, they're going to get on TV. They're going to go, obviously, it's not good. It went on for longer than we thought. We did everything we could, but it's broken now.
Like a fart.
And now we need to fix it. And this is the only thing. There's nothing else. This is what we have to do to fix it.
Yeah. You said something really, really interesting in one of your podcasts recently, or your interviews recently. Said the only person that would want to be in charge of people is a psychopath or a narcissist. Everybody else would balk at the idea of having to have that sort of pressure on them. That was really, really interesting. I'd never heard it put that way.
It's an enormous amount of arrogance and entitlement to think that you know how other people should live their lives, which is what all politics is. Politics breaks down to policies. You're saying, I know how people should live and I know how we should run things. And I just think you'd have to drag me into that job at gunpoint because the fucking karma. Every stupid decision I make because I've got an itchy foot and I'm in a bad mood is going to have ramifications. Or I just fuck up. I just don't do the maths properly or whatever it is. I'm like, that's lunacy. Yeah. But it's not the people who are being forced into it and they go, oh, well, I guess I'll do it. They fight tooth and nail. They stab each other in the back, Julius Caesar style. They claw over each other to please give me all that power.
With compromise.
Yeah.
To get the position.
Yeah.
And then they fight tooth and nail to keep it and keep all their dirty little secrets they've had to do to get to that point So you're seeing Donald Trump and Boris Johnson on TV. How many dirty secrets do you think that they've had to hide to get to where they were? Donald Trump's dad was the guy who found Tesla's papers over granddad. Boris Johnson was part of the Bullingdon Club. You don't go that route having a squeaky clean image.
Yeah.
No one's squeaky clean anyway, clearly, but look what was probably. But and these are the people you're going, please help us, sir.
Yes.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm sorry to swear.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like asking the bully to stop bullying you.
Yeah. It's not good. It's definitely not good. What's the most optimistic thing that we can offer people at the moment?
There's a chance for change. There's an opportunity here for us to go. Is it Plato talks about the shadows on the wall in the cave? It's a chance to turn around and see you putting those shadows on the wall. Turn and go, you bastards. They weren't real all along. And they're the people that we need to turn around and have a look. And you know who they are. They're not the government. They're the people behind the government. They're the people behind the shadow government. They're the people behind there. They're in deep down that where people have been trying to tell people the world about for years that you don't want to look at these people as psychopaths. And you're going to have a look.
Yeah.
But there is an opportunity here to now all turn around and go, hey, you bastards. Right, now we see what you're doing. We might come out of this and the world's never going to be a perfect place to live in because everyone's idea of perfect is completely different. But I'm sure don't want to wake up afraid every day, and I'm sure don't want you bastards doing what you've just done to us. So off you go.
Yeah.
Stop looking for them, the perpetrators, to give you the solution. We have an opportunity here to do that. I never had an opportunity in the last 2,000 years to do this, to turn around and go, nah, enough's enough. Stop bullying me. Stop hitting me. Stop standing on me. Stop abusing me. As you said, these are abusers. And you're asking your abuser to stop abusing you. They will not do it.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of a narcissistic or psychopathic relationship, we should expect no moral boundary to be taboo. We should expect no trick or lie to be off limits. Anything else is malignant optimism. You cannot expect mercy here. And for me, I think what I'll be doing and my route for this would be to say, okay, you've got to have your philosophy tight. You've got to have your sense of purpose tight. It's going to be really, really testing. And if you don't have a sense of what you will accept and what you won't accept, you'll probably accept anything. If you don't have strong boundaries to be able to say, no, that's not something I'm going to willingly do, then you'll probably just go along with whatever, because frightening times, you're going to go into shock, then you'll go in submission, and then you'll expect an authority to fix it for you. And that is going to be a mistake, I think.
I know the one thing I'd like to add to that is that some people, we were talking down the bar area, some people are going to be attackers. Some are going to be researchers to go out to find out who's behind these things. Some people are going to be defenders. Some people are going to be the people that look after people and heal and help. And you both need both. The football teams are saying earlier, you can't all play in goal. They won't score a goal, but you sure won't win. And you can't all play up front because they'll score a bunch of goals and all you're doing is fighting the tide.
Yeah.
We need people to look after people, the defenders and the healers, and we need people to go out and find out who's doing this so it never happens again.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And we need to, as you said, Richard, find your purpose within that team.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and then hold to that. And you know, I think another side of it is be resilient, because we've all gotten a little bit soft. We're all a bit cupcakey. We've all had a lot of spoon feeding. So there's a bit of over flapping going on. We've been through way worse as human beings. Yeah. I was listening to Graham Hancock today, The Magicians of the Gods. And he's great. Yeah, he's on this idea that there was a civilization that got lost because of he says it's the Younger Dryas incident, where the earth got smashed for a long period of time, but human beings survived it. And it was, you know, terrible winds, earthquakes, life was just being destroyed left, right, and center. It was horrendous, but we came through that. We've been through wars, we've been through famine, we've survived genocides, we've survived all kinds. it would be such a shame after all that and all that we've done to willingly just meekly get inside of our pods, tune into Netflix, have a wank and go asleep. Don't have a wank and go asleep.
Or don't go to sleep and have a wank.
Yeah, God knows.
What happened?
Who's in control then? There is a moment in Gravity where you all have seen this. It's back in 2013, but she has a pod moment. I don't want to give any spoilers
I love the
away.
fact that all of this is happening and you're worried about giving away the plot of the film.
Yeah, no,
that's a lovely human being trait to do. I'm really worried about
I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil the film because it's good, man. It's a really, really good film, and it can teach you a lot. It can teach you a hell of a lot. It's daft, like it's Hollywood and it's schmaltzy and it's over the top and it's sentimental, but there is an opportunity offered in that film for the protagonist, played by Sandra Bullock, playing Dr. Ryan Stone, to get it to literally get into a pod and just slip away and just everything's fine, everything's quiet. She's listening to radio. She's at the Chinese radio. She's got a Russian astronaut's outfit on, and she just starts to relax, and she just slides into hypothermia. And she has that moment where she's like, I could just go asleep. We do have that option here, but I would say please don't, because we didn't evolve to this point to fucking go into wank pods. Don't go in the wank pods like the Matrix,
which are an Apple product.
Which are Apple's produced them en masse. People are talking about FEMA body bags. Forget your FEMA body bags. Really? It's fucking Apple pods.
Apple wank pods.
Apple wank pods. Alex Jones has been on FEMA body bags for fucking 5 years.
Is he going on about what?
They've stockpiled them because they had these concentration camps.
Oh, the FEMA.
Yeah. Because
the dumb camps.
Yeah, and they're just going to get everybody and stick them in body bags and kill them. But no, the Apple wank pods are on the way. But there is a variation of that, which is to just stay at home, tune into the TV.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
It's basically it's like a soft version of it. You can either put the VR goggles on, or you can get inside of the VR pod, and it's the same thing in principle. This reality sucks. I don't want to be here anymore. So give me another reality. So we start moving down this line of trying to get into another reality.
Yeah, onion skin, I call it.
Yeah.
You pull another reality over the top of it. You pull another reality over the top of it.
Yeah.
And you're just going in and in and in.
You're stuck in a Rick and Morty episode all of a sudden, where you'll have some history of a civilization that chose to live inside of a simulation, but that simulation started to suck, so they created another simulation, and they just go further and further down. It would be nice to see people rise to the challenge with this one and just go, okay, with reason, what's good about the situation? What's bad about the situation? What can we take from it? What are we prepared to submit to? What are we not prepared to submit to? Do we all have to act like sheep, like herd cattle and go and raid the stores? It's not happening in many other countries in the UK, which is embarrassing.
Isn't it?
Yeah, Italy's been really good. Italy and Germany hasn't had the problems we've had.
Really?
Yeah, British people are not showing up for this one, unfortunately. So British people, stop being wankers.
Yeah. Stop
it. Stop stockpiling food. It's fucking unnecessary, and you're going to break the system for everybody else.
It's a funny old thing, isn't it? Where we're at. I never thought we'd get here. A year ago we were.
That's why I'm in shock, because it's so fast. We got here in a week. David Icke promised me a totalitarian tiptoe. This is the fucking, I don't know what this is. The totalitarian double leg takedown, dump you on your face and teabag you in the mouth.
It's a lockstep. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Lockstepping into our own fecal matter.
I've been teabagged. I feel like I've been teabagged on this one.
I do. But also,
every day I wake up and I'm like, no, get off.
I woke up this morning half expecting helicopters to go over and tanks to be outside.
That's next week.
Is it next week? It's next week's episode.
It's next week's episode of this mad simulation.
And this is the world. We actually are living in this world, and I hope we watch this back in 10 years' time and we piss ourselves laughing, going, "Yeah, that was mad, wasn't it?"
Yeah. Look how panicked you guys got. You thought they were getting rid of capitalism.
I don't think I was.
Yeah. For me, it'll be look at the hair I have.
Oh. Yeah. Well, we've got the same haircuts now. I don't know. I'm moulding in.
So hopefully that happens. Hopefully we just look ridiculous and paranoid. That would be awesome to look ridiculous and paranoid.
That would be lovely.
Except that this video will actually be banned and will have been deleted a long time. Under the New World Order, you will not be allowed to watch the videos of dissidents.
I could do one of those Ralph Lauren suits.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it was Hugo Boss, but I'd take it from either.
Sorry, Ralph.
Yeah, sorry, Ralph. Yeah, it was Hugo.
It was Hugo. Yeah.
Yeah, they were nice looking suits. You
They
know,
were
yeah,
fashionable, weren't they?
yeah, they were cool.
Stylishly killed someone.
I remember saying to my great grandfather, who's still around, when I was a kid, and he'd buy me little soldiers,
Right.
and I'd be like, "These uniforms are so cool. Why were our ones so shit?" And they even had cool guns.
They did.
The
They're
Luger,
little-
the
yeah,
Luger was a
Lugers,
cooler gun.
Yep.
But we had these crappy. I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Please don't say that to me. Please, can you just stop it, kid? Shut up and play with your toys." Should we see if we've got any questions?
Go on then.
Ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to ask us a question. Not that we have any answers, but we'll just flap around vaguely pretending we do. One sentence ending in a squiggle and a dot that says question mark. Did someone say clam slam? Says Made of Stars.
What's Clam Slam?
What's clam slam? I have no idea.
Sounds like a website that I won't be going on later.
Yeah. You should both be in quarantine.
We are.
We are.
That's a country.
Just joined, says PD. Where are you?
Fuck knows. On the outskirts of.
Yeah,
reality,
we're in Derby. Did you forget they did this during Holy Week? Is it Holy Week? Is this Easter?
Holy Week.
Is it Easter this week?
Do you know? I never remember when Easter is.
It must be soon.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
have-
if it is, then no. Yes, we did forget.
yeah,
That's very interesting.
you'll have to give us a reference on that. I can't use your Apple. Can you squiggle the cursor and go back up?
What do I do? There you go. You
There
just
you
do
go.
2 fingers.
Oh, 2 fingers.
Yeah.
Oh, you bad man.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think people, let's say here's a question, do you think people are going to get more spiritual in this time of turmoil? Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
definitely.
I think so.
There's an article on, I think it's on Politico.com, talking about all of the different positive effects that will potentially come out of this. And one of them will be more community spiritedness, as we realize we need each other, a different way of looking at science and medicine, and more of a spiritual view of life, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of it. There'll be so many benefits come out because I think in nature, our nature is to be positive.
Yeah, we've been manipulated into altered states of agitation and frustration, but that's not the entity that we are. Did you see David Icke's take on Corona? I saw the London Real interview.
Yeah.
If that's the one you're talking about, yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
David's been talking about this stuff for a long, long time. I know David a bit. I work with his son quite a lot, and Jamie and Gareth. And David's got his books have been talking about this for a very long time. Whether you agree with everything or not, it's not the point. The main concepts, we're starting to see them come out now. And he's a really nice guy. Actually, he's really funny. You'd be surprised. So yeah, I did see it. I thought it was a very, very good, passionate interview. The second one that he does with London Real is also very good. So it's well worth a watch. Clearly the coronavirus is a thing, but it's the fallout and the panic that's come from it that I think is causing the main problem.
What's your best guess of when social distancing is no longer required?
And people get fatter.
Yeah. You wouldn't.
Because you wouldn't be able to get out of the way.
No, definitely not. That would be that's. I mean, you've got Pringles over
It's
there.
kind of like the luggage thing on an airplane.
Yeah, there's there's going to be a size
big
limit.
People have less luggage.
I think they're saying 3 months, but obviously I'm trying to read up on pandemics. I'm trying to read up on the subject of disease this week. It doesn't seem likely.
I think it'll go on as long as we put up with it.
Possibly.
Because it doesn't mean anything. It's like saying "Make America Great Again." What does "great" mean? What does "make" do?
There's talk of needing to formulate some kind of an exit strategy whereby we would go back to work, those of us who still have jobs and businesses that haven't collapsed, but we would continue to do social distancing indefinitely. So you would just as standard just wear face masks. You wouldn't hang out in bars and restaurants anymore, and you wouldn't be this.
I ain't having that.
We're inside of
There's
the
just no way in
proximity
the world
range.
you could police that. Human beings, they're like herding ants.
It would be very difficult unless you frighten them. Unless you frighten them and you make it a source of social shame, and a new rule is that you don't break that. I mean, imagine if you were going down the street and you were walking too close to me, and a group of nutters came up to us with masks on, going, "You're killing my grandmother." stop being so close.
I am your grandmother.
That would be a Zen response. That's called a pan interrupt. I am your grandmother. How dare you speak to me like that? Go home.
You said a social.
Sorry.
Social. What do you call it?
Distancing.
No, the other one where you make someone look bad, feel bad.
Oh, social shaming.
Yeah, they do it in China, aren't they? On the screens.
Mm-hmm.
If you get done for jaywalking, they'll put you up on a big screen.
Do they?
A picture of you for a little while.
Naked or?
No.
What's the payoff of that
that's
then?
Massive.
Look at this. Look at this brace.
See, that's not. You're actually part cyborg now.
I am part
You've given up.
cyborg. I'm ready for the post-apocalyptic world. This is my Mad Max theme. I'm going to be the Mad Max survivor with the crutches and the bionic leg.
See, that kicks him in the crotch, and that's a crotch. No, that's a crutch, and that kicks him in the crotch.
That's right. That's the crutch. That's the crotch.
Getting mixed up.
Should we test all population and just quarantine? Positive tested, virus stopped. I like the way you say just. The logistics of that. Say if you talk about the UK, which is 66 million people, it's huge. It would be a huge and very, very difficult endeavor. And say I get tested negative now, am I just going to around go, oh, I'm negative forever?
Yeah.
You know, does my social quarantining stop?
How does that last?
We still have to remain quarantined. Yeah. You can't, I mean, if you could pinprick everybody and get the results instantly overnight, that would be a fantastic scenario.
How long does that last?
And then how long does that last? Yeah.
Like, didn't have AIDS when I was 10.
Didn't have AIDS when I was 10, can't have it now. Can I get that on a t-shirt? Didn't have AIDS when I was 10, and on the back it says, can't have it now. Hashtag science. Hashtag medicine. That's how medicine works.
That's how logic doesn't work. None of this works. If you put away any amount of logic to any of this, it doesn't work. You can't test 7.6 billion people. Yeah. You'd have to retest them 10 minutes after you tested them the first time in case they got it
in the interim.
In the gap.
In the gap. I love what you're doing with your fingers.
Yeah, sorry.
In the interim with the gap.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. None of it does. It's like, so stay in quarantine, people. You can't unless you're deemed an essential person. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you're either a doctor or okay. So how does a doctor get to work? I mean, it's a taxi. All right, taxi drivers are allowed. Drivers allowed.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you get the petrol in the car? All right, you work at a petrol station and on it goes.
Yeah,
we all are essential people. It's ridiculous.
My stepfather's got this special allowance because his business is repairing trucks, and all of the employees and all of their children can still go to school because it's deemed as essential. And you kind of think that's a funny leap in logic. I thought it was
no logic.
I thought it was a pandemic. Boris says stay at home, leaves the London Underground open.
Yeah.
You know,
and then people are going, oh, they're trying their best. They are laughing their tits off because it doesn't make any sense.
Or they're flapping. I mean, we're all flapping.
Maybe
Boris is at home right now, tearing his floppy hair out, going, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I can't do right for doing wrong. Everybody's shouting at me. I wish they'd all go away.
Why are there children crying in that room that I've never been in?
So yeah, let's see. What can you explain Sam Vaknin's opinion about this being a reflection of these narcissistic times? Love what you do, Rich. Thanks from Belfast.
I think that's you. I don't think that's what I do.
I can't explain it, but his reflection of it when I watched the video seemed to be that our highly narcissistic and particularly our lack of ability to reason and be rational and a lack of ability to understand statistics is impacting our response to this. He made it clear that he felt that this was not an appropriate response to the threat, for sure. But it's a good video and it's well worth watching. If you guys fancy it, go over to Sam Vaknin's channel and check it out.
This is really good at it, so they can see the questions that popped up.
Yeah. This is StreamYard. It's good. Boris has had the antidote. Well, good for Boris.
Yeah, Boris is the antidote. I'm going to take a vat of Boris. That put me off.
I can't. Why aren't you two practicing social distancing? Said somebody.
Well, it depends what you mean by that.
Yeah, what's social distancing? We'd usually be spitting in each other's mouths at this point, and I think the fact that we're not reflects
like
our
birds. That's how he feeds me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he gets hungry. He
I've
can't
put on half a stone this week.
chew very well, so I just
I can't actually. That's
spit
it's a true story.
chocolate hobnobs into his mouth.
Hot
Yeah, so
chocolate.
we are to a degree practicing
But how
social
can you?
distancing.
I don't. Well, for one reason, I don't think it helps. I think it's ludicrous, and I'm not doing it.
Mm,
That's my reason for it, because it's essentially insanity.
mm.
So I'm not doing it. I'm never doing it. That's my reason for not doing it. I don't know what your reason is, Richard.
I kind of am. I'm being careful. I'm not a particularly social person anyway, so
Well, neither am I.
life hasn't changed very much for me.
So I just but I'm not going to play into that because I don't agree with it. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
And I'm quite a stubborn bastard.
Okay, guys, if there are no more questions, we will probably disappear for the time being. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention. I'm looking forward to doing this work with Mr. Willett this week. It's a weird time to be doing it. It's weird synchronicity.
It is, yeah. We're doing a whole series about narcissism, how it manifests in the people that run the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be out on iconic.com.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go across there now, you get a 7-day free trial. And then I think you can pay monthly, you can pay yearly. It's like a Netflix for alternative opinions and alternative ways of looking at the world. It's run by Jamie and Gareth Icke, David Icke's sons. It's building really, really well. And also got loads of alternative information on there as well. So this sort of thing with YouTube banning these sort of videos and closing down on us, these sort of sites are going to be essential to keep information that's not mainstream and not on the BBC and ITV and all of those up. So we'll be doing a series on there.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, folks. We'll speak to you soon. 2 thumbs up.
You have to social distance your own hands.
Yeah, you don't let them touch.
No.
They might spread. No kissy with the thumbs. Do you want to sing a song while I fiddle around with the buttons?
We are the world.
Oh, that's a good one. We are the children. We are the
Harmonies.